Hello. Away, man. I've got a whippet to walk you now. I'm on. It's exactly 4:30, innit? Let me just pop the chat out. There we go. Um, BBC. They always want me to sign up for shit, don't they? And a TV license. Definitely not doing that. Is my audio alright? Mm. Now then, Plague Marine, how you doing? Marvellous. It's a bit bright in here, isn't it? I've got a bit of a shiny head. Um, no notification. When does anybody get them? When it's me, eh? Um, Jack, I haven't been around, mate. Middle of a move. I'm basically sorted now. I'm moving into a place next week. And then I'll start banging them out once a day again after work. But yeah, I've been busy over Christmas. Um, no, you sound like a northerner. Yeah, not much I can do about that. When I try to fake a posh accent, it just doesn't work for me. Uh, makes me sound like a sort of cross between an Irishman, a Scotsman, and someone with Downs. Am I in Hostel? No, I'm at my brother's house. Sounds low. Hang on. There's always someone, isn't there? Ragnar. There you go. Should be a bit louder. Sorted. The name of a Middlesbrough delicacy is a Parmo. Yes, Parmo. Still too quiet. Alright. Sound. You got it on Android, but not YouTube. You're on YouTube all day. Yeah, there's a lot of people on YouTube all day, isn't there? Origami, how are you doing? It's been a pretty mad. Yeah, I'm not in the pedo's lair. I've escaped from. I've escaped from the pedo's lair. Been a pretty mad couple of days, hasn't it? Is my mic all right? Yeah. The last 48 hours has been fucking mental, for want of a better word, hasn't it? I don't think anybody sort of saw it coming, for the simple fact that the level of blatant hypocrisy required to be kicking off as much as they are is staggering. Like, they think the entire fucking country's got the memory retention of a pissed goldfish. I don't know if that's actually true, and a goldfish has like a 3-second memory, but yeah, a goldfish with a drink problem. I think that's what they think the crack is, and it staggers me. Like, just for an example here, I was just looking at AOC on Facebook here. Look at the fucking clip of AOC here. So this is a woman that for the last 4 years, well, it's not quite 4 years, for fucking ages, let's just leave it there, I don't have to be too exact, has been saying some of the maddest shit that I've ever heard any serious political figure ever state. Some seriously mad shit. And she's been gobbing off, saying like, basically saying riots are okay, you know what I mean? Basically saying, oh yeah, but if you're oppressed and you want to have a riot, well, that's just how we talk. The riot is the voice of the fucking oppressed. Like, if there's anyone in Washington who's been genuinely apologetic for violence, for violent yobos, even after shootings and shit, it's been AOC. Like, she's fucking scary. You know, when it comes to full blown true believers, she's scary. Chomper scares me, and not just because she could eat an apple through a tennis racket. It looks like she pinched her teeth off a fucking dead sheep. She is a fucking lunatic, and they've spent years doing it. Years. Ever since Trump won, they went mental, freaked the fuck out in a way that, again, I understand why people don't like Trump. He's certainly got his flaws, hasn't he? And if you're a lefty, the way that he just doesn't give a flying fuck and just says, not apologising, don't care. He is a populist, and his speech isn't polite in the way that we've come to expect from politicians. So I understand why they would dislike him more than, say, Reagan. But there's no logic to the way they behaved. As I've said many times before, calling him a fascist, even if you dislike him, like no serious left-wingers call him a fascist, do they? Normal people like Sam Harris who hate him. I don't think he's ever called him a fascist, because he isn't one. Like, there's a dictionary definition for fascism. Right? Scary fuckers like Hitler and Mussolini and Franco and the like. They do things not even in the stadium with someone like Trump. You know, if you disagreed with him, you get fucking killed. Right? If you're talking about a real fascist, they fucking bury you. They bury you. You disagree with them, they dig a hole in the fucking middle of the desert, and you end up in it. So I've made the point many times that the idea that you can say loads of things about Trump, right? You can call him, he's rude, he is orange. Yeah, pretty objectively is orange. Yeah, I suppose he's possibly got slightly smaller hands than he could do for a man of his size. They're about the only factual things you can say about him that the left have come out with. Demonstrably not an authoritarian, because every time he fucking tries to do anything, it gets shot down by the Ninth Circuit. So when you've got a Ninth Circuit court constantly working against the fascist, the fact that Ninth Circuit court hasn't been reduced to rubble and all the people in it haven't been shot by firing squad sort of proves that by definition he isn't and cannot be a fascist. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, isn't it? You can wheel out whichever clevy. The orange is his aura. Yeah, like, I think that's A-U-R-A. Not that I'm a practicing hippie, but I'm pretty sure of that. You know, the fact is, yeah, and he is quite funny. There's a lot of, but I'm trying to meet them halfway as I always do. There's a lot of things you can see why he freaks them out and why it pisses them off. But he's demonstrably not. He's not a fascist. He's not a dictator. He won a fucking election. He constantly does what he's told. He abides by the rules. The courts shoot him down. He accepts their decisions and says, "Oh well, I'm going to appeal." If the worst thing that your fascist does is says, "Well, I'm going to appeal that decision," you're not really dealing with a fascist, are you? If AOC was dealing with an actual fascist, AOC would have been fucking staked to the floor outside the White House and then gang raped by 200 soldiers. So really, she knows it as well. All the people who call him a fascist, 9 out of 10 of them know that he's not, because there's a dictionary definition for that term. We've got historical precedent for what fascists get up to. Exactly, Zardoz. Right, it's just farcical. Again, it's farcical that I've talked for 5 minutes about a subject that everyone on planet Earth who's not a fucking maniac knows is ridiculous. It should be as daft. Calling him a fascist should be as daft as, you know, someone saying 2 + 2 = fucking 5. Like, it's preposterous. Because we've got demonstrable historical fascists to look at. And we've seen the body count, and we've seen the death toll, and we've seen what they do to people that disagree with them. So it doesn't make sense. It's absurd that I have to sit here and say this stuff, because they don't believe it themselves. So, ridiculous. But this is the shit she comes out with. And she spent 4 years calling everyone that disagrees with her a fucking white supremacist. I mean, seriously, it's in there again, look, white supremacist. Like, you'd think they're fucking everywhere. Like, you can't take the dog for a walk without tripping over a bastard white supremacist. Oh, what's that? There's a foot in the bush. Oh, that's another white supremacist. We get them. They're around here at this time of night. Like, there are none. If someone wants to tell me what the actual numbers are of the Ku Klux Klan in America, a group that you hear about on a fucking daily basis, I'd love to know. I was over there fucking 8 years. I don't think I ever met one. Like, it's not really a thing anymore. It was in the fucking 50s and the 60s, Jim Crow era. It's not a thing anymore. People have been going to school in America and getting fucking a left-wing education for like 40 years. It's not a thing. But they're going about it as if they're as common as fucking muck. Because, and this is my point, because they're inciting violence. Like, seriously, we can just stop beating around the bush. If you call someone a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist, you're basically saying that person is evil. Because we've educated people to think, rightly so, in most circumstances, that if you play collectivist games, you're a bad person. And it's only on the right side of that aisle. Because what is AOC if not a collectivist? It's really weird how people can't see this. It's like cognitive dissonance on a colossal scale. But what she's doing when she's calling people white supremacists and Nazis is doing what they said with regards to punching a Nazi, right? Remember that? Punch a Nazi, punch a Nazi, punch a Nazi. And the problem being, loads of the people that were punching weren't Nazis. I mean, I don't support political violence, but at least if they really were punching full-blown Nazis, you would go, yeah, well, fair enough, I suppose. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The reason everyone got pissed off about it was because half the people that were punching weren't fucking Nazis. They labelled them on a whim, like AOC is doing here, so that you'll be violent towards them. And I just find it baffling that Trump obviously did do a little bit of antagonism and a little bit of what I suppose you could call incitement, right? Maybe he did. Again, I'll meet them halfway there. But we had 4 years of it. Outright, overt hatred. The mad shit that Maxine Wars was coming out with. I wonder if I can find that easily. Let's have a look. Let's have a look on YouTube and see if we can get an easy one of Maxine Wars going mental. Maxine Wars incites violence. Let's see that. Yeah, this famous clip. If anyone hasn't seen this one,
we want it done now. We're going to insist on it. If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Already, you have members of your cabinet that have been booed out of restaurants, who have protesters taking up at their house, who's saying no peace, no sleep.
So it's like, you know, get them in their houses, get them at restaurants, get them at the gas stations, no peace, no sleep. Like, oh yeah, that's going to make people civilised. Yeah, tell them there's no peace and they're not allowed to sleep. Yeah, that's going to keep you nice and sane and rational and calm. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And for them now to turn round after the last 4 years and make out as if this is a fucking new thing, genuinely blows my fucking mind. It's off the scale levels of hypocrisy, and you can see they really do think they can get away with it, don't they? Like, they think they can get away with it. Kate, yes, I am used to the weather. I'm very, very wiry northern man. It's not so bad. Quickly get used to it. You can see that this is dangerous as fuck. But the worst aspect of it all, because nothing's new under the sun, right? We keep talking about this. People on the centre and on the right on politics on YouTube constantly harp on about history, because none of this stuff's new, and it isn't. Nothing's fucking new. It's just cyclical. Because another old adage I always go on about old adages is, if you don't learn your fucking history, you're bound to repeat it, and nobody does. Of course we're going to repeat it. This shit here, what's going on, is just what's happened fucking time and time again throughout human history. Strong men create good times, then we get all fucking degenerate. Then we forget what's fucking gone on, which caused the bad times, and then we fucking repeat them. And to see all of the big entities closing ranks in the more authoritarian way is nothing new and nothing unexpected. Of course, they're going to start purging us. Of course they are. Right? Fuck them. But it doesn't... Sorry, a bit noisy in here, isn't it? But it doesn't matter, because we always knew it was going to happen. I've been talking to Paz about it in the past, right? You can see what's coming 10 miles away. Because if you like, I am, and you like reading about the past, you can see this stuff telegraphed 10 miles away. You know it's coming. Just repeating the process. And let me tell you what's going to happen. Because, again, I'm not being sage here. I'm just telling you what we've observed in the past. What's going to happen is, they're going to fucking close ranks in the most despicable, full-blown, commie fucking style, i.e. history is what we decide it is. We'll tell you what's happening. You want to get facts that we've cultivated, right? They're going to keep pushing the narrative that for 4 fucking years they've been sweetness and fucking puppy dogs and Trump's been aggressive and violent. The 90% are going to go, well, that's bollocks, I'm sort of insulted. And then eventually you're just going to get another repeat where you've got... Because, the worst example of this is people keep saying, oh yeah, but it's only like a small minority. It's only like 4 or 5% of them are weirdos. Seemingly unaware, that that's all it's ever took. Right? That's all it's ever took. Every major conflict in fucking human history is always caused by the sort of 4 or 5% on either side of the issue. And then the rest of the people just want to be left alone. Just want to get on with their lives. So that's all you need. And you are going to get, once again, a total fracturing of society. Everyone's going to go to parlour. Dialogue is essential to keep us from tearing each other apart, right? And we're now going to fully segregate. Yeah, progressive. That's what the left say now, don't know. Segregated universities, that's progressive. No, it fucking isn't. We're going to segregate entirely. We're going to get a totally right-wing centre and right-wing space on the internet. Parler, etc., Gab, that's going to fill up, and Twitter is going to become a seriously far left echo chamber, where now they are arguing with people still because they're not being too bad with it, or they haven't been. But we're going to segregate entirely, and then you're going to get a fucking left wing internet and a right wing internet, and they're going to go at it like they always do, like they always fucking do, and someone's going to win. And typically, Parler's been nuked. Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. I heard Amazon, Google, they're all doing it. So you're going to get a fracturing. And then seriously, this is the bad part for the left. They're going to lose. Right? They're going to lose. And this might sound controversial to say, but it doesn't matter. I'm just being honest. I always am. The reason they're going to lose is because the mad identity politics, BLM sort of commie types don't realise how badly outnumbered they are. Like, I've got a large circle of friends, 20 or 30 close friends. I've been lucky, in my life. I'm a chatty person. I have a lot of mates. Loads from the military still. A big circle of friends. I would say 95% of them are like basically at my point in politics, or right of me. And there's maybe a couple that are like old school Labour, but even they've had enough of identity politics, because when you're a working class white guy who's always voted Labour, you're not going to be down with identity politics because you're stitching yourself up, aren't you? So they're going to lose, like badly. And this is the controversial thing. Just think of it. If you're in a minority, i.e. like black people are in the UK, you need friends and support and help from the majority because you're a minority. This isn't rocket science, right? And when you get these two warring 5% that are going at each other, you're essentially doing away with centrism. You're forcing me, because like I said, I've always considered myself to be centrist, left-wing in a lot of ways. You know, gay marriage, abortion, euthanasia, drugs. I'm a liberal person. But if you're going to force me, because you've done away with centrism, you've just got two warring clans. If you're going to force me to pick a team, who do you think I'm going to pick as a white working class English bloke? You know, you might get some fucking lunatic who's advocating stuff that I don't agree with. Like I've always said, like segregating by colour. Something that, again, when we were actually liberal in the 90s, when I was growing up, that's all we ever got taught. Don't see colour, don't see sexuality, don't see these things. Take everybody as an individual. I agree with that 100%, and I always have. But if you're forcing me to pick between full-blown communists or full-blown right-wing arseholes who I don't really agree with on very much, who do you think I'm going to pick? Because one of those groups, despite the fact loads of their stuff I find detestable and I don't agree with them on, but one of those groups is going to defend by osmosis, just by default, my personal interests more than the other. And let me give you a clue. It's not the fucking communists. So this is how you get to major conflict. You get the 5% fighting and the rest of us just go, fuck it. So what do you think I'm going to do? And I've basically outlined what's going to happen. There's no way in a country which is 85% white working class, there's no way those people are going to lose if the communists force us to pick a side. There's no way. You're going to literally get fucking blood on the streets, Weimar Republic, commies versus Nazis, and once again the fucking Nazis are going to win. It might not be here first, because England has always historically been more resistant to collectivist ideologies. Maybe it's going to be on the continent as fucking usual. But it's going to happen, and they're going to lose. They have an inflated sense of the numbers and the power because of Silicon Valley and the MSM tipping the scales for them. Sky News, the BBC, Channel 4, they're all far left, and the 90% doesn't agree with them on anything, but they've managed to convince the fucking lefty loonies that basically they've got the numbers to get their aims achieved, and they haven't. They just haven't. So it's not going to go well for them. The segregation of the internet is a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. We need to be having hard, difficult conversations at great length and really get to the meat of all these issues. And when you force people to silence themselves, when you start, again, it's history. I'm not telling you anything that anyone who's read any long books doesn't already know. The Islamic world was doing alright until they started banning shit, what you could talk about, and then it went totally tits up. Because you stymie learning and knowledge and education and reason. You stymie it. You kill growth, intellectual growth. It's not going to go anywhere good at all. Bifurcating the internet, it's a fucking terrible idea, I'm telling you. Amazon, Google, YouTube, they do not understand what they're doing. The danger, because none of these young people, they might have degrees in like fucking computer science, but they don't know shit about human history. Not before 1960. A child could see this coming. A kid who has a good historical education learns about the fucking 19th and the 20th centuries in school. You know what's going to happen. It's going to go fucking tits up badly. And I can't believe these people, cleverer people than me, can't see it. Muktuk, well, this is what I've just told you. It's no choice at all, is it? Who do you think the majority is going to pick? It's a no-brainer. Working class, socially liberal bricklayer from Leeds. Who's he going to pick? Is he going to reluctantly go, well, I suppose if we have to go over the BNP type I'll hold my nose? Or is he going to go with a full-on commie who wants to fucking just totally fuck his children? Take everything from them. The people that have got the least. Like I've talked about before, the numbers are black and white. The numbers are black and white. The worst, the most downtrodden people in the UK as it currently stands is the white working class in the sink estates up north. They get less. But people of various ethnicities throughout the UK, what they call BME, they get more advantages. They get more money, they get student grants, they're more likely to go to university, they're less likely to die in police custody. They get loads of advantages. We're basically totally fucking over the majority and expecting the majority to constantly be liberal and polite about it. And it's a terrible idea. Seriously, like, terrible idea. Bifurcating the internet. And this is why I made my post the other day. But I don't think I'm exaggerating or overstating the problem. I think this will be the catalyst for a serious split where people aren't talking anymore. A split akin to like the American Civil War. People are just not going to talk to each other. They're going to bifurcate completely, and then they're going to grow resentment, bitterness, and just like fucking Yoda said, it's going to go up to hatred. And hatred leads to fucking scrapping. It's going to be widespread social disorder, sort of Northern Ireland style shit, where you've got fucking people kicking off constantly. And it all started with bifurcating the internet, forcing them off these platforms, so there's no debate, no discussion, no sensible, morally guided, nuanced conversation. It's just going to go thumph. Right versus left. This fucking weekend was the start of it. Mark my bastard words. And it's not gonna be good. Quoting Yoda, yeah, he's a wise old fucker, him. It's gonna go tits up. So yeah, long term, I think it's gonna be bad for everyone listening. Well. Well. I'll be slightly reluctant when it starts kicking off, but I'm not personally concerned because I'm in a very significant fucking majority. So there you go. I did want to talk about a lot of things, but I only had half an hour and I talked for so long on that impassioned monologue that I lost track of time. Look, I wanted to go over my favourite, the Antifa mutants, and I haven't got the time. Look at the clip of these fuckers. That guy there in the middle with an head like a fucking light bulb. That woman in the bottom right with a fucking, seriously got a fucking cow head. That boss-eyed one on the bottom, like that is just a freak show of epic proportions. And then top left, looks like sort of Harry Potter if he turned out to be a sexual offender. Shocking. But oh yeah, regards the civvies training the Marines, egg fried rice. That isn't actually something you should be worrying about too much because I think it was Chris Thrall left a message on his page. I looked into that and they're doing like a very small portion of training, i.e. I think it's like data security and electronic backups and sort of like personnel files and stuff, but they're not actually training the Marines, i.e. when you go to Lympston, do your commando training, you're still doing 32 weeks getting thrashed by Royal Marines corporals and officers who train you, and PTIs get you fit, and unarmed combat and plenty of time down the range. You're not getting civvies, doing any of that shit. So that is not really a story. That lots of people messaged me about it, but yeah, that's a non-story. You're not getting some fucking Oxford-educated graduate in a sharp suit taking Marines on the ranges and telling them how to shoot. The marksmanship principles will be covered by serving Royal Marines NCOs. It's a bit of a non-story, that. The downfall of Western civilization in one photo. But right, that's it. It's 5, guys. I've got to go. I will be back very shortly. I'm not going to move into a new place this week. And then when I've got some privacy and I don't feel like a bit of a weirdo and I'm in a cupboard talking while there's fucking people banging around, I'll start cranking videos out. until they unceremoniously fling me off the fucking platform for wrong think. So 36 weeks now, I didn't know that. Well, that's good then. 36 weeks with Bootneck NCOs. Maybe they'll do 2 days with the fucking civvies, but yeah, that's a non-story, guys. Right, so thanks for checking me out and thanks for sticking with me. I know I haven't posted much content the last 3 weeks, but I am pretty much getting squared away. I started my new job last week and everything's moving along nicely. Hopefully by next weekend I'll be able to do the BBC spews as normal and we can get back into a nice routine. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. As long as I'm allowed to, I'll continue to push content out, starting hopefully arse end of this week. And yeah, I guess we'll hang around and enjoy ourselves until YouTube ditch me in the gutter, covered in crusty spunk and pubes, and you know, whatever fluids Jack Dorsey's spattered me with. All right, fuck 'em. We'll be right.